It's known as the Smiling Coast, a Muslim country that welcomes the Western visitor, a place that respects tradition but embraces change. On my journey to this West African country, I discover a culture in transition, where an age-old rhythm is giving way to the beat of a modern drum. When I arrive in early March, it's the middle of dry season. My home base is at Kotu Beach on the North Atlantic coast, just outside the capital city of Banjul. Although the Gambia is becoming a destination resort for European tourists, I'm not here for fun in the sun. I've come to find the real Africa and to see how Canadian tax dollars are helping people in local communities. The Gambia gained its independence from Britain in 1965 and is the smallest country on the African continent. The rapidly growing population of 1.5 million is made up of a variety of West African ethnic groups. They have a history of living in harmony. But prosperity has been elusive, and the Gambia ranks very low on the United Nations Index of Human Development. This is why the Canadian International Development Agency, or CIDA as it's more commonly known, is active here. Their mandate is to support development in the world's poorest countries.
And administrative section, the project administrative office, and the sponsor relations
At a Christian Children's Fund project, I meet Mrs. Giorgio Drame, a social worker. She works with families in the inner city community of Serakunda, ensuring children get adequate health care. Mrs. Drame is receiving training from a CIDA-funded program known as the West African Rural Development Project, or WARD. She believes it's helping her become more effective with her clients.
You should know how to empower your community, because in any developmental activities, if you want to succeed, you must involve your community at the initial stage.
Funded by the Association of Universities and Colleges of Canada, as well as CIDA, WARD provides training for community development workers throughout the West African region.
When you look at the areas that people are identifying as a priority, what kind of areas are they?
Don Sawyer, an educator from Okanagan University College, initiated WARD in partnership with GTTI, the Gambia Technical Training Institute.
And we're providing training in a whole variety of areas, in things like management and communication, budgeting, proposal writing, workshop delivery and organization, a whole wide range of generic skills.
WARD is sponsored by a CIDA initiative that encourages the exchange of expertise between Canadian and third world colleges and universities.
We are looking at things that we prioritize.
Alpha Jallo, Sawyer's Gambian counterpart, is WARD's program director.
People have now got skills to be able to mobilize people at community level. Maybe it is to do a village cleaning or try to address the problem of malaria, or trying to help a group, within the community start up an income generation project.
Well, what do you make from that?
After 3 years of study, the first WARD class of 35 people will be graduating later this week.
I feel like these people become my friends. I've seen them grow. I've seen them develop. I've seen them become incredibly confident and much more skilled. And I know that on Friday, when they leave, that they're going to go out into the field and have a real impact on the face of development in West Africa.
Hi, Dawn. Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Great.
Did you sleep well?
Yes. Sawyer introduces me to a WARD participant, Sekou Toure, who is already making a positive impact. You're going to take me to your village today?
Sure.
Formerly a taxi driver with little education, Toure feels that his life and career were transformed by the WARD program.
I don't know what I would have been if it hadn't been this course. My employer noticed my ability, the improvement that I was able to get from this course. During the course of these 3 years I was with Ward, I was promoted twice, and I was at one level for a whole year. I was a component manager. I was managing a whole division.
Once he got into this program, you could just see his confidence grow and his skills grow. And over the years, I've just seen him become a leader, not only in the class, but really in community development in the entire country.
As a result of Ward, Touré's career with the European Commission-funded program called Support to Decentralized Rural Development is on the fast track. Currently, he manages training for the North Bank Division, a large district of hundreds of rural villages. Touré's volunteered to show me some of the projects that he's championed in rural areas.
Okay. Welcome to my compound.
Thank you. But first, he has graciously invited me to meet his family at their compound in Sukuta, a suburb of Banjul.
This is my son. He's a twin brother to Awa.
Hi, Aura.
The second to last of my children. Their younger sister sitting on her mother, Jennifer. This is my wife.
Oh,
my first wife.
very pleased to meet you.
Remember, I have two.
Okay, and this is number one.
And this is number one, the senior wife.
She's so beautiful. Fatou, Touré's senior wife, has never met wife number two, who lives up country. Polygamy is a traditional practice in the Gambia, although a recent law prohibits men from marrying more than 3 wives. And she's got a big smile on her face. Hi, sweetheart. I love your dress.
She's the youngest of my children.
Can you tell her she has such a pretty dress?
I
love your dress. Touré gives me a tour of his compound. By Gambian standards, he's a good provider, giving his family the benefits of a middle-class existence.
Okay, this is the kitchen. This is where, no matter how big the family size is, all the foods are cooked. It's as simple as this. 2 local stoves, and you have the cooking pots. This one is for the sauce, and this one is for the rice. I think there is already...
So she's already been cooking.
Rice, yeah.
Wow, oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think you'll have this, you'll enjoy it.
Great.
You'll have a lunch before we go.
Fatou also has the advantage of being able to buy firewood for cooking. Most Gambian women must collect their own each day. Over a delicious lunch of fish stew, we make plans to meet up again soon in the village of Njawara, where I'll meet Sekou's second wife and see some of his rural development projects in action. It's very nice. It's beautiful, actually. Over 80% of the Gambian population still lives in the country, but large numbers are migrating to the city looking for opportunity. Instead, they find disappointment. Urban drift, as this migration is known, is placing too high a burden on a limited infrastructure. The result is high unemployment and overburdened services. This is why the focus of Ward is rural development. If village life can become more self-sustaining, it will prevent migration to the city and keep communities intact. The next day, I begin my journey up country to see how Ward is affecting people's lives in the rural areas. My first stop is St. Michael's Basic Cycle School in the village of Njongon. Here I meet another ward participant, Mamadou Lamanjouf, who's been working on a project to expand the school's facilities. Although it looks like St. Michael's is a large school, there isn't enough classroom space to accommodate all of the potential students.
You are going to draw this house and the church in your books.
Some children are forced to travel long distances to the city or other villages if they want an education.
Government is advocating for students to have access to education. So that's why they are bringing up this basic cycle school so that the children can have their schooling within the communities that they are. Moving them from here to other communities would destroy their culture, their values, and other things. So that's why we have the need to put up more classrooms to cater for the people around this area.
This new classroom is being constructed by the local community. People are donating their own time and skills to make it happen. The women of the community are preparing meals and bringing water to the men who are mixing the plaster. Many of them carry babies on their backs. And how does she feel about working on this specific project?
He said that it's good, especially for our children, because it's going to help them to have better education.
Does she hope that her baby is going to go to the school?
Yes, she confirms, yes.
The St. Michael's School project was inspired by Lamanjouf's ward training, which emphasizes grassroots community involvement in development projects.
The people that we're working with are very, very committed to a bottom-up approach to community development, to recognizing the skills and capacities of the community, to mobilize those. That's why we often talk about it as animation. This is community animation. It's not extension work. It's people animating, bringing to life, mobilizing the community.
So we tap the resources in the community with the techniques we learn at the ward program. This is exactly what we are practicing with the communities.
That's fantastic.
And we have really seen the results of this training with ward.
My next stop is the Njawara Agricultural Institute, where I catch up with Toure. He was located in this district until his most recent promotion. Toure introduces me to Samuel Dembe, a ward classmate, and Badara Jobi, the director of the institute, who is also a ward participant. The institute provides training in sustainable farming practices. This is vital because food productivity has been declining in the rural areas, making it difficult for people to feed their families year-round.
The main causes of the environmental degradation we've realized is lack of trees in the environment. That is why now the system, we are trying to include tree planting with cropping or farming in one way or the other to improve the cropping system. Because we feel that if the communities are able to feed themselves, definitely it's a big achievement and it's the only way that we can reverse the poverty that is ongoing.
Toure's second wife, Mariama Pane, works as a bookkeeper at the institute. Unlike many women here, she's had the benefit of education.
I am an educated person, so I know my work, so I'll be able to choose what I want and what I don't want. But if you are not educated, you will often not be brave enough to know what you want and what you don't.
It's difficult for North American women to understand, but tell me how you feel being a second wife.
It's okay. It's really nice. I don't even feel I'm a second wife. Yeah, because the most important thing is you just have to play your role. And Segu also is somebody who is very understanding and a caring husband. So I don't even feel I'm a second wife. It seems as I am alone. Yeah.
My conversation with Mariama Pane has made me curious about the status of Gambian women. I visit the Agency for the Development of Women and Children, which is based in Njawara. There I meet with Mamsamba Juf. He's a ward facilitator as well as ADWAC's executive director. One of his priorities is education for young girls.
Parents would prefer to send their boy child to school and would prefer to have the girl child remain at home to help the mother in domestic chores and stuff like that.
It's not surprising that women would want this help at home. They carry a heavy burden of work here.
And they are the main child carers, they are the main food producers, they are the main food processors. I mean, they are the main family educators. And so they are so important in the population that leaving them behind means, you know, leaving a good part of the population when it comes to developing the country. So these are some of the reasons why women really need to be targeted. Yeah.
ADWAC sponsors classes for rural women that cover a wide range of topics.
We try to help that woman to learn those skills that are relevant to her daily needs so that she could be able to apply them immediately.
Here in the village of Njamba Kunda, women from an ADWAC literacy class are filling out a daily activity grid to find ways to save their valuable time. This exercise in time management confirms that they spend much of their long working days fetching water and firewood, cleaning and cooking. No surprise here. They also spend too many hours pounding grains into flour. This process will help villagers assess their priorities for development and determine what resources they need. For instance, funding for a flour mill may be high on their list. The president of the Gambia, Yaya Jammeh, recognizes that women are important to his country's future. He endorses a progressive strategy of empowering women from all walks of life.
The women play an important role in the development of this country. They are farmers, they are in agriculture, they are in fisheries, they are now in the security, and we have women everywhere. We have got women competing even for higher positions in government. And I think it is recognized that we play a major role in development.
The next day, Toure takes me to the health post that he sponsored in the village of Bamori Kunba. A council of elders, including the village imam, turn out to greet me.
His name is Keba Fofana. He's the imam of the village, the religious leader, the Muslim.
Saduta. And I'm Mary. Mary.
I'm delighted to find out that it's baby day. On average, there are 6 children born to every Gambian woman. Today, the children are getting physical checkups as well as immunizations for tetanus, whooping cough, hepatitis B, measles, yellow fever, and polio. The mortality rate for these children is sobering. Almost 1 in 4 will die before the age of 5. Canada's rate, by contrast, is less than 1 in 100. Before this health post was built, people in this district received medical attention from a makeshift location.
The problems before the health post were many. When women came to see the doctors, they will not have no place to sit. There is no enclosure where a woman in labor can go in. There is not even a proper place for the visiting nurses to sit down. It's in an open place, in the sun, in the rains.
With health posts few and far between, villagers would have to walk long distances in the burning sun.
It's very common you find a woman with a baby resting under a tree after walking 5 kilometers, and she has another 5 kilometers to walk again.
Recognizing these critical needs, Toure drew on his ward training to facilitate with the community, district, and government to get the health post funded and built.
The villagers were involved at all levels, at planning and the actual implementation. And this is what ward is all about. Whatever you do, make sure the people, the beneficiaries, those affected, are on board.
Before my return to Banjul, the people at the Anjawara Agricultural Institute arranged a wonderful surprise. But there will be no sitting on the sidelines for me, I soon discover. I'm expected to shake my booty African style. Well, maybe Canadian style. As my tour comes to a close and the ward graduation nears, Toure reflects on the twist of fate that gave him the opportunity for ward training.
The moment of my life when I got the communication that I was accepted, then I joined what I call the miracle of my life.
For Toure, ward was the miraculous end to a long journey in search of education. As a child, he was denied Western schooling by his traditional Islamic father, leaving him to rely instead on his own wits and the goodwill of friends.
My friends were very kind to me, so if they move from class 4, some of them will pass all their books to me. This is how I was able to get myself some education to enable me to read and write and speak a reasonable English.
Toure takes me to the compound of his father and stepmother in Serekunda, a suburb of Banjul. Out of respect for his father, Toure has never dared ask why he was denied a Western education.
We have to be very careful not to offend our parents. We don't have to go against their will. But so many people helped to see me in school, but it just didn't work.
Toure has asked me to pose this question to his father on his behalf. Sekou's brought me here today just to find out about his past, and I wanted to ask you why you decided not to give Sekou a Western education to begin with.
He said that he is kind of following his father's instructions. His father did not send any of his children to school. He also kind of advised them that if they should get any education for their children, let it be Quranic and Islamic education.
Toure's father goes on to say how proud he is of his son, wishing him a long life and happiness. Today is a very healing moment for you.
Yeah, this is an opportunity. I'll never forget this moment. And I think it's because of your presence I was able to get this. It's a historic moment in my life to hear my father saying such.
I'm really glad I was part of it.
Yeah, thank you very much for being the source of this opportunity. I was never bold enough to ask my father why he didn't send me to school, even though the question has been on my mind on a daily basis. But you have provided the opportunity, and the response was positive. I'm just very happy, and I'm touched. I'm really touched. I'm touched.
And finally, it's graduation day for Toure and his fellow ward participants.
To the graduates, may I also once again congratulate you.
The keynote address is given by the Secretary of State for Education, the Honorable Mrs. Ndong Jada.
Knowledge and skills you have acquired.
Salam alaikum.
Don Sawyer gives a gracious speech. He's retiring from OUC at the end of the month, but is leaving with a rewarding sense of satisfaction, knowing that the Ward graduates now have the skills they need to mobilize their country.
I'm not only proud to pass the torch over, I'm absolutely confident that they're going to carry the torch on to the next phase, because there's a tremendous future for this project.
Sekou Touré is a man that I've come to admire. From taxi driver to community leader, I know that he will continue to have a positive impact on the Gambia in the years ahead. As I give out Canadian flag pins to the Ward graduates, I reflect on what I've learned from the trip. I'd come expecting to find a poor nation, but instead discovered one that is rich in potential and overflowing with community spirit. Maybe Canadians have something to learn from the Gambia